Well, hello there, my sleepy friends. Get yourself comfortable. Pull that blanket a little tighter. Maybe dim your screen just a touch. Because tonight, we're going back to a world that a lot of people remember very fondly. We're talking about Infamous. Now, if you grew up with a PlayStation 3 or even a PlayStation 4, there's a really good chance this series holds a special place for you. It's one of those franchises that didn't just give you a superhero to play as. It asked you what kind of superhero you actually wanted to be. And that was a pretty big deal. The Infamous series was made by Sucker Punch Productions, a studio based up in Bellevue, Washington. You might know them more recently for Ghost of Tsushima. But before all of that, before the samurai and the golden fields, there was electricity. There was a courier on a bike. There was a city that needed saving. Or, depending on your choices, needed someone to fear it. Tonight, we're going to go through the whole story, all the way from the beginning, from the moment a man named Cole MacGrath woke up in the middle of a crater, all the way to Seattle, years later, where a young man named Delsin Rowe discovered that the world had changed in ways nobody was quite ready for. We'll talk about the characters, the powers, the choices, the themes, all of it, nice and slow. So settle in. This is the history and the story of Infamous. Before we even get to the games themselves, it helps to understand the world these stories are set in. The Infamous universe isn't exactly our world, but it's close. Close enough that it feels grounded. Close enough that when things start going wrong, it feels like it matters. The key piece of lore to understand early on is something called a conduit. A conduit is a human being with a genetic mutation, a specific biological trait that, under the right circumstances, allows that person to absorb and channel a particular type of energy. Electricity, fire, smoke, neon, whatever it might be. Conduits are sometimes also called bioterrorists by the government and the media, particularly as the series goes on. And that framing, that label, becomes really important to the themes of the story. But here's the thing. Most conduits don't even know they are one. The gene just sits there, dormant, quiet, until something activates it. And in the world of Infamous, the thing that activates it is usually trauma. Something catastrophic, something that should, by all rights, kill a person. Which brings us to Empire City. Empire City is the setting for the first game, a sprawling, fictional metropolis that draws inspiration from New York. It's got distinct districts, a lot of character, and at the start of the story, it is in complete crisis. Something has happened in the Neon District, something big, an explosion, a massive one that has torn the heart out of the city, killed hundreds of people, and left the streets in chaos. The city has been quarantined. Nobody gets in, nobody gets out. And in the middle of that smoldering crater, one man survived. His name is Cole MacGrath. Cole MacGrath is, at his core, a pretty ordinary guy. Before the explosion, he was a bike messenger. He rode through the streets of Empire City every day, delivering packages, living his life, dating a woman named Trish Daly, hanging out with his best friend, Zeke Dunbar. Cole isn't a soldier. He isn't a scientist. He's just a guy who knew the city's streets better than most because he'd spent years riding them. But on one particular day, Cole was given a package to deliver. He was told to take it to the historic district and open it when he got there. And because Cole was, by nature, someone who got things done, he did exactly that. The package contained a device called the Ray Sphere. And the moment Cole activated it, it detonated, releasing a massive pulse of energy that killed everyone around him and did something extraordinary to Cole himself. Cole woke up in the crater, alive, his body crackling with electricity. He'd been struck by lightning repeatedly and had not only survived, but found himself able to generate and control electrical power with his bare hands. That's how it begins, not with a spider bite or a lab accident or some grand destiny, just a man, a mysterious package, and a choice he didn't even fully understand he was making. Now the city Cole wakes up in is not welcoming. The explosion has fractured Empire City into 3 main districts: the Neon District, the Warren, and the Historic District. And each one has been taken over by a different gang in the power vacuum that followed. The Reapers, the Dustmen, and the First Sons. The police are overwhelmed. Basic utilities are down. People are scared and angry, and a lot of them blame Cole because word travels fast and people saw him at the center of the blast. So Cole is a man with extraordinary powers, who is also, basically, a wanted criminal in the eyes of a lot of the people he's trying to help. This is where the karma system comes in, and it's one of the things that made Infamous feel so fresh at the time. As Cole moves through Empire City, the player, you, make choices. You can use your powers to protect people, restore infrastructure, push back the gangs, and earn the trust of the citizens. Or you can intimidate, drain energy from innocent people, make selfish or cruel decisions, and rule through fear. Good karma or evil karma, hero or villain. And the game doesn't just track this as a number, it shows it. Cole's appearance changes. The way people on the street react to him changes. Even some of his powers develop differently depending on which path you take. It's a really elegant system for its time, and it gives the story a lot of emotional texture. As Cole begins to find his footing, literally, because one of his abilities is being able to scale buildings and grind along electrical rails, he starts getting pulled in several directions at once. On one hand, there's the NSA. An agent named Moya Jones makes contact with Cole early on. She tells him that the Ray Sphere was government property, that she needs it recovered, and that in exchange, she can help clear Cole's name and lift the quarantine. Cole has reasons to trust her, or at least reasons to go along with what she's asking. On the other hand, there's Zeke, Cole's best friend. Zeke is lovable and frustrating in equal measure. He's funny, he's loyal, but he's also deeply jealous of what Cole has become. Zeke wanted powers too. He was right there when the Ray Sphere went off, and nothing happened to him because he isn't a conduit. And that gap between them, Cole becoming something more than human while Zeke stays exactly the same, creates a tension that runs all the way through the first game and into the second. And then there's Trish, Cole's girlfriend. She blames Cole for the explosion because her sister died in it. Their relationship is complicated, painful, and one of the emotional anchors of the first game. As Cole works through the 3 districts, restoring power, taking down gang leaders, piecing together what happened, he keeps encountering a mysterious figure who seems to be orchestrating events behind the scenes. This figure is called Kessler. As Cole begins to find his footing, literally because one of his abilities is being able to scale buildings and grind along electrical rails, he starts getting pulled in several directions at once. On one hand, there's the NSA. An agent named Moya Jones makes contact with Cole early on. She tells him that the Ray sphere was government property, that she needs it recovered, and that in exchange, she can help clear Cole's name and lift the quarantine. Cole has reasons to trust her, or at least reasons to go along with what she's asking. On the other hand, there's Zeke, Cole's best friend. Zeke is lovable and frustrating in equal measure. He's funny, he's loyal, but he's also deeply jealous of what Cole has become. Zeke wanted powers too. He was right there when the Ray sphere went off and nothing happened to him because he isn't a conduit. And that gap between them, Cole becoming something more than human while Zeke stays exactly the same, creates a tension that runs all the way through the first game and into the second. And then there's Trish, Cole's girlfriend. She blames Cole for the explosion because her sister died in it. Their relationship is complicated, painful, and one of the emotional anchors of the first game. As Cole works through the 3 districts, restoring power, taking down gang leaders, piecing together what happened, he keeps encountering a mysterious figure who seems to be orchestrating events behind the scenes. This figure is called Kessler. Kessler is the leader of the First Sons, the most sophisticated and dangerous of the 3 factions. He's cold, methodical, and seems to know things about Cole that he shouldn't. He keeps appearing, always ahead of Cole, always one step removed, and the encounters between them feel deeply personal in a way that Cole can't quite explain. The mystery of Kessler is the spine of the first game's story, and the reveal is genuinely one of the best twists in the franchise. But we'll get there. Along the way, Cole is also confronted with increasingly difficult moral choices, the kind the game frames in ways that don't always have a clean answer. At one point, there's a plague spreading through the city, and the only way to distribute a cure quickly involves Cole making a decision that will save some people and doom others. It's the kind of moment that stuck with players for a long time, and through all of it, Cole is growing stronger. His lightning abilities expand. He can shoot bolts, create shockwaves, glide on air currents, ride magnetic rails. He starts to feel like something genuinely powerful, genuinely different, and the game asks, what do you do with that? Who do you become? Eventually, Cole tracks down the Ray sphere and Kessler in the historic district, and that's when everything that has been building comes to a head. Kessler reveals the truth. He is Cole MacGrath from the future, a version of Cole who, faced with a terrible threat, a being called the Beast, chose to run rather than fight, chose to save himself and the people he loved instead of standing his ground. And in doing so, he lost everything. Trish, the city, eventually the world. So this future Cole, Kessler, traveled back in time. He put the Ray sphere in Cole's hands. He engineered the explosion. He took everything from Cole on purpose, killed Trish during the final confrontation, removed the things that would make Cole want to run, because he needed to forge a version of Cole who would be strong enough and hard enough to face the beast when it came. It's a brutal, tragic twist, and it reframes everything that came before it. Cole defeats Kessler, but the victory is hollow. Trish is gone. The city is still broken, and somewhere out in the world, the beast is coming. Take a breath here if you need one. The first Infamous is a lot emotionally. It's a game that presents itself as a fun superhero sandbox, and it is genuinely a lot of fun to play. But underneath that, it's a story about grief, about identity, about the weight of choices you didn't fully understand when you made them. Cole at the end of the first game is a man who has lost the person he loved most, who has learned that his own future self was his greatest enemy, and who knows for certain now that something monstrous is on its way. He's earned his grief, and the world isn't going to give him much time to sit with it. Infamous 2 picks up not long after the first game ends. Cole has stayed in Empire City, but things are about to change very fast. The beast arrives, and it is terrifying. Where Cole can shoot lightning bolts and glide between buildings, the beast is a towering, city-destroying force of nature. It tears through Empire City like it's made of paper. Cole fights it and loses badly. He barely escapes with his life, and only because his new ally, a NSA agent named Lucy Kuo, helps pull him out of the wreckage. The message is clear. Cole isn't ready, not even close. So the plan becomes this. There's a device, a new and more powerful version of the Ray sphere called the RFI, the Ray Field Inhibitor. It was designed by a man named Dr. Sebastian Wolf, and it has the potential to stop the beast. But to use it, Cole needs to be significantly stronger. He needs to evolve. This leads Cole, along with Zeke and Lucy Kuo, to New Marais. New Marais is the game's setting, and it is a beautiful, vibrant city clearly inspired by New Orleans. Bayous and brass bands, an ornate architecture, and a thick, humid atmosphere that feels completely different from Empire City's gritty urban sprawl. It's one of the great video game cities. Honestly, it feels alive. But New Marais has its own problems. The city is dominated by a man named Joseph Bertrand III, a charismatic, populist politician who has built a private militia called the Militia, and who has been stirring up intense anti-conduit sentiment among the population. Bertrand presents conduits as monsters, as threats, as things to be feared and controlled. He's dangerous in a very specific, very recognizable way. A man who uses fear to hold power. Cole also meets a new character here who becomes very important, Nyx. Nyx is a conduit with fire and napalm-based powers, and she's been living in the bayou outside New Marais. She's fierce, unpredictable, and driven by a deep personal vendetta against Bertrand, who was responsible for the death of her family. Nyx and Lucy Kuo serve as the 2 poles of Cole's moral axis in this game. Kuo is measured, tactical, principled. Nyx is impulsive and willing to go to any length for what she wants. And Cole, and the player, has to figure out who to listen to. Dr. Wolf explains what Cole needs to do to grow stronger. There are other conduits in New Marais, individuals with powers of their own, and Cole can absorb that energy, learn new things, push his abilities further. The game introduces ice powers through Kuo and fire powers through Nyx, each giving Cole new tools and new ways to approach the world. And all of this is building toward a choice, the big one, the one the whole game is heading toward. Because as it turns out, the beast isn't simply a monster. The beast has a name and a face. He was a man named John White, a former NSA agent who was investigating the Ray sphere before the original explosion. John was caught in another Ray sphere detonation, and the energy transformed him into what he now is, an unstoppable force of destruction and, as he sees it, salvation. John White, as the Beast, believes that the Ray sphere energy doesn't just create conduits randomly. He believes it can activate every dormant conduit gene on the planet at once. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people gaining powers. And yes, In the process, everyone who doesn't carry the conduit gene, the vast majority of humanity, would die. From John's perspective, this isn't genocide, it's evolution, survival of the species in its next form. The RFI, meanwhile, would do the opposite. It would destroy ray field energy entirely, killing the beast, killing every conduit on Earth, including Cole himself, but saving everyone else. So the choice at the end of Infamous 2 is not good guy or bad guy. It's a genuine philosophical dilemma. Save the conduits, the evolved, the next step of humanity, or save the majority, the regular people, at the cost of everything Cole is and everyone like him. The good karma ending has Cole use the RFI. He defeats the beast. Conduits everywhere die, including Cole, in a quiet, rain-soaked, heartbreaking scene that remains one of the most emotionally resonant endings in PlayStation history. Zeke holds him. The world is saved. Cole is gone. The evil karma ending has Cole join the beast. Accept the transformation. Let the ray sphere detonate worldwide. Humanity as it was ends. Something new begins. For the purposes of the canon and what comes next in the series, the good ending is the one that counts. Cole MacGrath sacrifices himself. The world survives, and conduits are believed to be extinct. That word, believed, is going to matter a great deal. In the wake of the events of Infamous 2, the world has changed enormously. The government, specifically a federal agency called the Department of Unified Protection, or the DUP, has been established to deal with the ongoing threat of conduits, because it turns out that not all conduits died when Cole activated the RFI. Some survived, and their existence is now a political and social flashpoint. The DUP is led by a woman named Brooke Augustine, a conduit herself with the ability to control and create concrete. She's sharp, strategic, and complicated in ways that make her one of the more interesting figures in the series. Augustine uses her position to implement conduit registers, essentially mandatory registration and internment for anyone discovered to have powers. The conduits who are caught are taken to a facility called Curtin K, a prison in the Pacific Northwest where they're held indefinitely. The public has largely been convinced, through a combination of fear and carefully managed information, that conduits, or bioterrorists as the DUP calls them, are dangerous and need to be contained. It's a world that has decided, collectively, that the easiest thing to do with people who are different is to lock them away. Into this world, in the city of Seattle, a young man named Delsin Rowe is about to have the worst and most transformative day of his life. Infamous Second Son was released in 2014, and it was a PlayStation 4 launch window title, which meant it was a lot of people's first real look at what the new generation of hardware could do. And visually, even now, it holds up remarkably well. Seattle is rendered in gorgeous detail, all glassy skyscrapers and Pike Place Market and the Space Needle and misty Pacific Northwest skies. But the heart of the game isn't the visuals, it's Delsin. Delsin Rowe is a 24-year-old member of the Akamish tribe, living on a reservation about an hour outside Seattle. He's charming and irreverent, with a spray can always in hand. He's a street artist, known for tagging murals around his community, much to the frustration of his older brother Reggie, who is the local sheriff and the person who most frequently has to deal with Delsin's particular brand of chaos. Their relationship is one of the warmest in the series. Reggie is exasperated by Delsin, but loves him completely. Delsin respects Reggie, even when he's actively making Reggie's life harder. They bicker and they banter, and they clearly would do anything for each other. The inciting event happens when a bus transporting DUP prisoners crashes near the reservation. 3 conduits escape. Delsin, being Delsin, goes to investigate, and in the process, he comes into physical contact with one of the escaped conduits, a man named Henry Hank Daughtry, who can control smoke. And something unexpected happens. Delsin absorbs Hank's power. This is new. This isn't how conduits are supposed to work. You have one power, the power your genetic mutation corresponds to. But Delsin isn't like other conduits. His ability, it turns out, is power absorption. He can take abilities from other conduits by making physical contact with them. He is, in a sense, the next evolution of what Cole was, a conduit who isn't limited to one expression of power. Brooke Augustine arrives at the reservation shortly after. She wants the escaped prisoners. She wants Hank especially. And when the Akomish community can't or won't give her the information she needs, Augustine encases the tribe members in concrete, slowly, painfully, and tells Delsin that she'll come back to remove it when he brings her Hank. So Delsin goes to Seattle to find Hank, to get the information Augustine needs, to save his people. That's the mission. That's the reason. But Seattle is also a city under a kind of occupation. The DUP has established a heavy presence throughout the city. Checkpoints, surveillance, propaganda, and Delsin, moving through the city, absorbing new powers, starts to realize that the mission is more complicated than he thought. Because the people who are being imprisoned, the conduits, they're not monsters. They're people. Some of them scared, some of them dangerous, but people. And the system that's locking them away is built on fear and political convenience as much as genuine safety. Delsin is a conduit, and if anyone finds that out, he's next. As Delsin moves through Seattle's districts, he discovers new power sources. A neon sign artist named Abigail Fetch Walker, who controls neon light, and a graffiti artist named Eugene Sims, who has the ability to control what he calls video, essentially digital energy, the ability to manifest creatures and weapons from video game imagery. Both Fetch and Eugene are complicated characters with real histories, real pain, and their own relationship with the moral choices Second Son presents. Because here it comes again, the karma system. The same essential question the first 2 games asked, dressed in new clothes. Does Delsin use his growing power to protect people and dismantle the DUP's unjust system through targeted, careful action? Or does he use it to dominate, to tear through the DUP with indiscriminate force, to leave a trail of fear in his wake because it's faster and because it feels satisfying? One path leads to a Seattle that, by the end, is freer. Where the DUP's hold has been broken, the conduits are safer, and Delsin has built something. The other leads to something darker. Augustine, throughout all of this, is watching. She knows Delsin is in the city. She allows it, in part, because she believes she understands what's happening, that he'll lead her to Hank, and that'll be that. But Augustine is wrong about what Delsin is capable of, and wrong about what she herself represents. The final confrontation between Delsin and Augustine is one of the most emotionally charged moments in the series, made sharper by what we learn about Augustine as a character, about why she built the DUP, about what she actually believes she's been doing this whole time. I won't give away every detail, but I will say this. The resolution of Second Son depends entirely on who Delsin chose to be. And the game's final scene, which involves Reggie and a mural and the Space Needle, lands very differently depending on the path you walked. Before we start winding down, I want to take a moment to talk about what the infamous series is actually about, because I think it's one of those franchises that has a lot more going on under the surface than it sometimes gets credit for. At first glance, it's about superpowers. And yes, the superpowers are a huge part of the appeal. The freedom of movement, the spectacle of electricity and smoke and neon, the feeling of being genuinely powerful in a way that most games only gesture at. But the deeper thread, the thing that connects Cole and Delsin across 2 generations and very different stories, is the question of what society does with people who are different. In the infamous universe, conduits are born, not made. They don't choose what they are. And in every game, society's response to them is fear, suspicion, and control. The label bioterrorist is slapped on people who have never hurt anyone. Registration and imprisonment are framed as public safety measures, and the people doing the framing are often not cartoon villains. They're people who genuinely believe or have convinced themselves that what they're doing is necessary. That's a very specific kind of story, and it resonates. It has always resonated because it's a story about otherness, about what it feels like to have something true about you become a reason for others to fear you, about the exhausting work of trying to exist with dignity in a world that has decided you're a threat. Cole's arc is about sacrifice, about what it costs to be the person who stands between the world and something terrible. His story ends with him giving everything. Delsin's arc is about identity, about figuring out who you are before the world gets to decide for you. His story is messier, more personal, and in many ways more relatable for that. Together, they form a really compelling picture of what heroism can look like at different points in a person's life and at different points in a world's history. Sucker Punch made something genuinely special with this series. It wasn't always perfect, and it never quite became the cultural phenomenon that some of its contemporaries did. But for the people who played these games, who spent hours swinging through Empire City on bolts of lightning or riding neon trails across the Seattle skyline, they left a mark that hasn't faded. This is the part that's a little bittersweet. After Second Son, Sucker Punch released infamous First Light, a standalone expansion featuring Abigail Fetch Walker and her neon powers. It's a tighter, more focused story, and it's really worth experiencing if you love Second Son. But we didn't include it in tonight's main coverage, so we'll just mention it here and give it its due as a lovely piece of work. After that, the series has been quiet. Sucker Punch moved on to Ghost of Tsushima in 2020, which was a massive success and clearly the studio's big new direction. There's been no announced infamous title since. No new Cole, no new Delsin, nothing. Whether that's permanent or just a long pause, nobody outside Sucker Punch really knows. There are fans who hope, and there are rumors, as there always are. But for now, Infamous lives on mainly in the hearts of the people who played it, and in the PlayStation Plus catalog, where you can still find Second Son and First Light. There's something a little poignant about that. A series about people who were deemed expendable by the world, sitting quietly on a server somewhere, waiting to be remembered. Cole would probably have something dry to say about that. And that, friends, is the story of Infamous, from a bike courier who survived an explosion and learned to ride lightning through the streets of a broken city, to a young man with spray paint on his fingers who found out he was something the world wasn't ready for, to the quiet years between, where a government decided that fear was easier than understanding. It's a story about powers and choices and consequences, yes, but more than that, it's a story about what people do when they're given something that makes them different, and whether the world around them has the grace or the courage to let them be who they are. If you never played the Infamous games, I hope tonight made you a little curious about them. They're still there, waiting. Zeke and his lawn chair, Trish and her grief, Reggie and his brother, who he can never quite keep out of trouble. If you grew up with them, I hope tonight felt like visiting somewhere you loved. Either way, thank you for spending this time with me. Get some rest. Dream something good. Good night.